Dear Venerable brothers and sisters, Dhamma friends, this last question and answer session we are going to start with. At the beginning, I apologize for my delay. It's a few minutes of delay. And as usual, there are some written questions I'll start with. And meanwhile, if you have any other questions or statements or any kind of thing, you are cordially invited. The first question. Dear Venerable Bhante, thank you and many blessings for your excellent teaching. Your instructions to me is invaluable. I wish you good health and long life to enable you to continue teaching in Dhamma for many more years. I wish you Bhaddekaratta. Wish you a lot of metta. Please also forgive me if I have done any intentional or unintentional offense, intentionally offended you in any way, my thoughts, speech and actions. Okay, that if I also have done any kind of thing, please, in the same token, forgive me because I just wanted to live a life rather than running a role. So I would have also offended you people, so I think you can easily forgive me. Bhante, when unwholesome thought arises in the mind, if I perceive them as non-self, would that thought still cause bad karma? Of course, this has to be considered in a specific way. The unassuming or perceiving them as non-self. For example, if you are done a crime, physically, verbally, or mentally, and then you are saying, no, I am not, it is not myself, it is not me, it is not myself, it won't work. Because that if it is so, it will be an excuse for you to continue, do yourself, and then claim this is not me, this is not this is myself. Only the thing is, once it had come up to the Vitikama Kalesa, or into the... No, I would put it this way. As far as the transgressional kind of kilesas, that transgressional kind of defilements, this is not applicable. That you have to restrain, and then you can take on the samatha meditation, and then you can have a kind of a temporary control on the obsessional kind of defilements, and then only you can see the things into the depth, because your mind is calm, collected, and this part is available, this mantra or this method is beyond that. Before you tackle the 5 nivaranas or the obsessional kind, this won't work. After you go up to a certain clarity in your mind, then only this, whenever the underlying tendencies or your past habits going to arise, that you can disclaim. Otherwise, the mind is not in a penetrating position to implement it in a productive way, maybe misusing it, taken as an excuse to do bad things. That is not the way. Therefore, you have to bring the attention. I would say, from the Vipassana point of view, from the retreat point of view, once you have taken the in-breath and out-breath, once it ceases to exist, and once you have mastered it, and then only this method you can use it. Before that, it may be some propellant, maybe some the commitments. Under such circumstances, don't let it be an excuse. So therefore, this is a kind of a carving of a wood furniture. So carving happens once you have prepared the furniture, and then it's a value-added system. It is a very fine tuning. At that level only you can do it. But once you develop the skillfulness, once you develop this method, later you may do it, but as a beginner, don't do it at the transgressional level, don't do it as the obsessional level. This is helpful, or safely you can use it in the underlying tendencies at that level, safely you can. Later you may expand as you like. And the question is going there, would those thoughts still cause bad karma? The bad karma can come as far as the will is there, as far as the volition is there. So you must make sure these thoughts with the thinker or without a thinker. The thought with the thinker is causing karmic forces. So there are some huge amount of thought without a thinker. That is the part you can deal with. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. As far as there is no thinker, that means no volition, no will, no intention, there is therefore no karma, because that Buddha has given the stock phrase, Chetanaham bhikkhave kamma madami. Once it becomes the Chetana, then only it has the karmic forces. Venerable Bhante, if I have understood correctly, all sankharas have tendency to extend the samsara, and thus we should try not to make any sankhara. Previously, I have learned that akusala karma are made via sankhara generated when greed or hatred is present along with the delusion. Kusala karma are generated when the no greed, hatred or delusion are present. In other words, via alobha dosa moha. See, easily in theory it says there are three kinds of sankhara: punyabhi sankhara, apunyabhi sankhara, ananjabhi sankhara. Whatever the sankhara going to happen, it is leading to vijnana. Vijnana means the consciousness, and the continuity goes. And the sankhara is always get the nutriment from the avidya, that means ignorance. So therefore, whether it is punyabhi sankhara, apunyabhi sankhara, ananjabhi sankhara, it has its own propellants. It has the pushing effect. So therefore, best is asankhara or visankhara. So therefore, first you get rid of apunyabhi sankhara with the help of punyabhi sankhara. And then get rid of the punyabhi sankhara with the help of ananjabhi sankhara. And then ananjabhi sankhara means it's going to give very little titillation, very little ownership. And then that also let it wear and tear. That is how one leads to the other, slowly goes to the subtlety going on. Could you please clarify whether the about is correct? The correction is, you have to understand all the three, punyabhi sankhara, apunyabhi sankhara, ananjabhi sankhara, all are sankharas. All are perpetuating the samsara. Also, I have heard that sankhara are made via the javana chitta present within the chitta vidi. When there are no sankhara made, would those be specific chitta vidi without dhavana chit? Would those be like kriya sit? Could you kindly clarify above? This part I am not a master. I am not much believing on these chitta vidis. I have not studied. But if you go and ask one of the Abhidhamma teachers, they will say clearly, as far as the chitta vidis are concerned, there are many, many kinds. Some chitta vidis are aborting and halfway, and therefore it is not going to get the momentum. So this is the way they are explaining it, but that part I am not mastered and I am not aware of it. So the person who is writing also has some kind of understanding. So I can't remember the name. The chitta vidis are not, without fulfilling javanas, they cut off. But these are just, I am just amateur, not understanding. So therefore, one has to consult an Abhidhamma teacher, master. They will give their explanation. Venerable Bhante, in real true compassion, does one stay and feel equanimous? In real true compassion, this one stay. This is the one episode I remember. I think it is in 1979 or 80, the Krishnamurti, the Indian philosopher, he came to Sri Lanka and he was a royal guest and he was in the state guest house. So Venerable Dhammika, the Australian monk, helped me. He has tried to go into the royal guest house, state's guest house, and the guard room has told no, because only for the limited people can go. Then he has gone to the exit door and stepped backward inside. So guard has told that's still not allowed. And later he told, whatever may be the rules and regulation, I wish to meet that fellow, Krishnamurti. And then ultimately God has told, don't let anyone know, better you go. So when he going there, Krishnamurti is sitting and talking with the limited amount of special guests. And Venerable Dhammika go and sit behind. And then he has told that make the full compassion and empty your mind. So then Venerable Dhammika, even though the great crasher, he has told, how can that empty mind and the compassion come together? Then he has had a very nice smile. He told, compassion means empty mind. Out of empty mind, only the compassion can happen. But compassion is kind of, when someone is fallen in trouble, you feel it. It is not something you do. It is something happen in Sri Lanka. In Sinhala, we call anukampa. It is happening. Someone is in kampa, in the shaken. You feel the anukampa. Then you act. So he came and directly gave the dramatic understanding he got. So this also says the real compassion, equanimous. Out of equanimity only, the real one comes. Other one are always colored. The Kusala-abhisankara, Punya-abhisankara, Apunya-abhisankara, Ananja-abhisankara. Punya-abhisankara means skillful volitions. Apunya-abhisankara means unskillful. Ananja-abhisankara is neutral. Venerable Bhante, having heard Ditte Jittamattam Bhavisati, a few months back, I have been trying to practice same. When I see a beautiful flower, I stop. Then hear enticing music, I recede immediately. Then I was receiving curry smell and I tried to ignore it. I ignored. Bhante, am I doing the right thing? I was waiting to meet you at the English retreat in Perth. I have met you. Please advise me whether I am doing the right thing. Is this a way to eliminating the consciousness with the sensuous objects? Please advise. This appear, the doer is here. The doer is, when I see the beautiful fly, I stop. The person is stopping. And I hear the enticing music, I recede immediately. At the receiving the curry smell, then try to ignore, and I ignored. There's a doer is there, but in the real sense, the doer has to withdraw. The mind has to work in this way. So this is a kind of an effort, but even can be a game of the consciousness. It's a completely, the cheating consciousness can be still playing a game. The person himself will be conditioned. But there's nothing happened into the hardcore consciousness. It's a conditioning can happen. Therefore, that is not the way. So you have to first make make a determination to take care about this transgressional kind of defilements. And then you have to go to understanding in the obsessional kind of defilement, that is a nivaranas, and then keep it open the mind And within that mind, due to the underlying tendencies and your habits and your likings and disliking, things are going to happen. It is happening in the mental level. Mental images, mental sounds, and sometimes smells, all the kind of... So first of all, you must try to understand not to proliferate at that level, and there it will be very effective. Once that is happening, only you understand there are two kinds of process. One thing is happening with intention, one thing happening not with intention. Or consciously or unconsciously. Sasankarika, asankarika. So, to discriminate whether it is something you do or something happening, not possible as far as your early part of restrainments are not complete. So therefore, at the first, when you are training at the first, the moral training and the concentration training, either in samatha or vipassana way, must be fairly established, then only you can try it. Once that happens, later you can do a little in the beginning of the sitting, sometimes the walking and day-to-day activities, then only you can understand asankarika, sasankarika, the difference. That means volitional involvement or not. Otherwise, this can be just a mind game. But this is not a bad thing, but this is not the exactly the pure state. Because in this case, the doer is there, or kind of the brainwashing or conditioning can happen. So therefore, in the meditation, in the deep meditation, we have to start and then slowly diversify into the day-to-day activities. And there are the best example is when a camera is taking a photo of the flower, the camera has no comments, no commentaries, no feeling for that. Exactly the way the eye should work. Just like a tape recorder, it is recording, but it has no feeling about what it records. Exactly the way the sound must be. Or otherwise, in the poetic way, the Buddha says, even though you are an eyed person, observe like a blind. Even you are with the full intact ear sensitivity, let them come, but behave like a deaf. So these are the way. This is maybe a good start, but you have to be careful because our mind is so cheating. It is very crafty. It is a magician. So don't let the brainwashing going to happen. No conditioning.
Bhante, would it be a position happening at early stages in the exercise of practicing?
No, that is why that you can't do when you are in the common senses as a beginner. You have to first experience in the deep meditation, and that later you can apply into the day-to-day activities. You have to understand the core teaching when the mind is mature enough, prepared enough. At the meditation, basically, for my understanding, start that in the sitting meditation and do it with the mental images, do it with the mental sounds, do it with the mental smells. When that happens, you just disclaim. Yeah, I feel like it is not related to me, it is not me. And slowly you start the art, you learn the art, that later you can apply into normal day-to-day activities. Yeah. Venerable Bhante, much merit to Ajahn Brahm. I thought it is Ajahn Dhammajiva. I was waiting for that. But anyway, it is much merit to Ajahn Brahm. So that usually in Sri Lanka, we never call monks by name. So when you say Ajahn Brahm, it is for the common calling, it is okay. But lay people usually never call by name, out of respect. But I know definitely Ajahn Brahm is not taking it so much. But you call it by a monastery name or by his village name. If you have to call him by name, you have to ask permission. After asking permission only, you are calling by name. It's a way the to the parents and this thing. So when I'm writing also, sometimes I feel guilty because sometimes I write Sayadaw Pandita or Achan Brahm. But it is considered in the Sri Lankan tradition not to call by name. So therefore...
that means we have to
no, that you have to put a time a nickname or something like that. So Mahasi Sayadaw, Mahasi Sayadaw is not his name. Mahasi is his monastery name. His name is Sobana. Pandita Sayadaw, they don't call by name, they say Ovada Sarya Sayadaw. Ovada Sarya means it is a title given by the Sasana Rakkha, this thing. And Chamiya Sayadaw is Ujanaka, but never called by Chamiya. Janaka, he called Chamiya Sayadaw. Saddamaran Siyata Sayadaw is yet another name, but called by the monastery. Even the Burmese people are very strict on that. They never call. Even the Sri Lankan, but now you see that in the way we are talking and reducing the number of words in front of behind, so it becomes. But the Brahman, so that venerable, is such a venerable character. So you have to keep the distance all the time when you are associating and calling and kind of thing. But I can't give an alternative how to do it. But entering in this, when I'm writing, I feel it is to keep the distance. I don't know how you people are going to comment upon that. Yeah. Even not the Brahma so even the Bodhinyana Achan Bodhinyana monastery or something like that. That is the way, but it will be a huge difference what I am suggesting. But that is the way that in Sri Lankan way, we never call by name. Call by name is for your peer group. Otherwise it is a kind of an insult from the Sri Lankan point of view. So therefore we keep the distance. Even he is friendly with me. You must understand to... When we are tackling 2,230 current or 3,300 or 6,600, don't play much of this thing unless otherwise you are with insulation. If any shortage going to happen, so therefore always... But anyway, I am creating only a problem. I can't give a proper answer how to tackle it. So best thing is to ask the Achan, that avoid what will be the best way. And those who initiate the idea and help donate to build this wonderful facility, Jhana Grove for meditation. I actually felt like flying in Airbus, Boeing 767, like the air condition is on. Everything designed very methodically. Some air conditions are making noises when opening, but all these selections there are excellent and very methodical too. Thank you again to the Ajahn Brahm and whoever involved to build this family with metta. So the comment is, the meditators are really appreciating this, but many people can say this is too luxurious. Very difficult to escape that accusation. Even in Sri Lanka, when we are producing, there's a huge campaign is going on. Why should this much of luxury to meditate? You are coming from the household life to here to experience the middle path. What is the luxury? So the best example I found is Pandita Sayadaw. And even Jnanarama stand for that. They says, when we are doing the sasana work, don't compromise for inferior things. Do the best. And then let the people to use it as much as possible. And that is the way when the Anathapindika, when he was offering this Jetavanarama, he spent 17,000 course or something like that for the land, 17,000 for the house building, 17,000 for the ceremony to offer it. He did the best. And that was the hub. That was the main center. So many people can come and criticize it, but the Buddha never criticized. So it is very, very rarely people understand the practical value, the pragmatic value. So they come and when I go to Panditarama in 2001, the main dining hall and others were ready. So there was one very distinguished guest. And when he come to me, ask, why one say this much of facilities for meditation? I have nothing to say. I told that best thing is you go and discuss with that American lady. She is the one taking care. She can give the kind of explanation for you. And he went there and still he criticized. But that she managed to tell. Otherwise very difficult for the Westerners to come, and you see the amount of service it is happening. But even then this, the kind of criticism, I don't know what is the real term for that. So only the people, those who are making use, can understand the utility value. Or it's a pragmatic value, others. So therefore we must really, not to give it to me, but some or the other, Ramani must convey to the Achan, and then tell this kind of a thing. But I know it won't make much difference to him, because so much of people thank him, but it is our duty to thank and give the proper answer for these people, those who are criticizing or looking sarcastically as this is luxurious. We must radiate the good vibrations as much as possible, so everyone will be absorbed. Can you please explain the death meditation, how to do it? Of course, this is a valid question, because in the talk I wanted to take few minutes to explain this, and brushed off. I had no chance. So in the talk I mentioned that how to justify the death meditation, because if there's a death, there should have a deathless. And therefore, to go to the deathless, the amata, is only you can have to go through the death. And yet another statement out of this sutta, Pandita Sayadaw says, if you have to die happily, you have to live happily. If you have to live happily, you have to do death meditation often. Then only you will really understand what is the game we are doing. If we are going to forget about the death and going to live ever, like kind of idea, we are up to any mistakes. We are up to any kind of arrogance. So when anyone is thinking the death again and again, he or she will not do crimes. He will or she will not develop any fear to other people, because the death is always reminding. So that is the way you are living happily. If you are living happily, you will die happily. As far as the meditation is concerned, only there's one phrase: life is uncertain, death is certain. Life is uncertain, death is certain. Jivitang aniyatang, maranang niyatang. Jivitang aniyatang, maranang niyatang. So often you have to remember, even in sitting, they're reciting the same. Jivitang aniyatang, maranang niyatang. The life, anytime it can cease, but the death is certain. So when it is gather the momentum, you experience the momentary death. Whenever you are be in the same frequency with the momentary death, the mind is really at the present moment. It is not going to think about the future or the past and bring it here. And therefore, kind of a rejuvenation happens. There is no fear as such, because you are ready to accept it. And instead to keep the mind in the middle state, not to think about big plans, not to regret about the past. So therefore, that is it's considered as one of the shortest cut to prepare the invariable thing called death. And therefore such a person morally will be abiding and moral responsibilities. And anyone to commit crime, he must have the permanent notion. I am living ever. That is how the crime can happen. But if you understand you are in such a flux, there won't be such a propellants for specifically the crime. So in the as far as the meditation is concerned, it says jivitang anitam maranang nitang. So contemplate the same. That is specifically the therapeutic effect is for the postponing kind of character. Some young people say they can meditate when they become old age. Some people have a lot of excuses not to do now. Under such circumstances, this death meditation become an antidote. Venerable Bhante, Buddhism talks about many planes of existence. When it can witness only two, namely human and the animal existence, are the other planes also associated with the earth, or are they anywhere else in the universe? We believe about those out of faith, as we cannot witness this. Even the technology of the modern day, two answers possible. This one thing is, in the spectrum of waves, only the VIBGYOR is visible, the ultraviolet and the other parts not visible, but we can make use it. X-ray and the what is using in the microwave. These waves are, you can't see, but we can use it. When you come to the very low, it becomes sound waves, only you can hear. But the sound, even beyond that, bat can listen and they can use the radar. So therefore whole spectrum is there, only one little fraction we can see. And therefore, scientifically, it says if it is existing, it must be repeatable and retestable. But now, that definition of the science also is the question. So therefore, whether it we can tackle by our gross sensitivity, we are not in a position to say yes or no. The second thing is, in the Buddhism, there are three methods to confirm something. Paccakka siddha, anumana siddha, saddhaya siddha. Paccakka siddha means the direct touch, direct experience. So whenever you get the touch of the breath or touch of the ground, your foot, steps, you get the paccakka. Paccakka means face to face with, direct against your eye. So when that happens, you will see at the moment you are to see the beginning of the breath, you are blind to the middle and the end. But in the next breath, you will see the end of the breath, but you may be blind to the beginning and the middle. And in yet another breath, you may be blind to the beginning and the end, you may see only the middle. When this is happening again and again, deductive knowledge, put everything together, it says beginning, the middle and the end. It is summing up everything. It is also almost like direct touch. In other sense, the same example, same principle in other example, when you are seeing, if you are aware of the object, you cannot be aware of the sensitivity of the eye. If you are to be aware of the sensitivity of the eye, you can't see the object. If you are to understand the consciousness, you can't be aware of the eye and the object. But by doing it 1001 times, you develop kind of comprehension through the deductive knowledge that you put together, and then whole theory come into being. So even then, what is first happening is the direct touch. From the direct touch to the Anumana Siddha, that is deductive knowledge, rational knowledge, but even then, whole you can't see, there is a gap that you have to comprehend through faith. So therefore, whole panorama, if you wish to see or experience by direct touch, you have to be Samma Sambuddha. Omniscient knowledge has to have. But to enlightenment of the individual, not necessary to have everything. So therefore, Anumana Siddha, Pachaka Siddha, Anumana Siddha lead you. But there are some patches, you have to believe it. Present day in the quantum physics, they have proved it. They say whenever the energy quantum become matter, the matter has two intrinsic qualities. One thing is the speed, the other one is the mass, the weight. And that's all. So if the scientist wish to see the speed of that particular particle, he has to focus the machine. When you are observing the speed, you never can measure the mass. And if you are focusing the machine to see the weight, the mass, you never can see the speed. Both never can see, but by looking this and 1,000 times, by looking that in 1,000 times, ultimately the deductive knowledge is one particle has two qualities, and this is the mass, this is the weight, this is the speed. But that is not the direct touch. It's a two parts of direct touch put into together by deductive knowledges. So therefore, this also accepted as a valid. But even then, there are some parts you have to believe. It is called Saddhaya Siddha. That is the way the Buddha preached. But when we are comparing to the other religions, they have the Saddhaya Siddha first. Everything they believe by, they prove by belief. Very little they can do, deduce, never direct touch. This is completely contradictory, the topsy-turvism. Therefore, the whole panorama, if you wish to see, you have to be Samma Sambuddha. Otherwise, you have to believe what the Buddha says. So therefore, that these things are, even if you are sorting out, it has very little impact in your enlightenment or your understanding of truth of suffering. So therefore Buddha has taught only the part which is suitable or enough to understand the truth of suffering. But that does not indicate the others are not relevant. Others are relevant, but they are for the external sasana or for the sake of communication. Without that, you can understand. And as far as the time is concerned, the past and the future is essential for the rational thinking. But the Buddha says, if you understand the present, other will be answered. According to the historical finding, humans did not exist on the earth millions of years ago. Human evolved from the ape-like animal. And there were era where some semi-human animal-type creatures lived on the earth, Homo sapien, etc., until the fully developed human come into existence. Can you explain this in Buddhist perspective? No, this is a scientific explanation. And for the Buddhist perspective, you have to see the Sattasuri Gamana Sutta, and there are two particular suttas. The Buddha is explaining how the being came into being, and that is the way. This is the, how do you call, scientific explanation, and this is also believed only by the people believing evolution as a theory. And some people say it is a intelligent design, the creator of the God. So therefore in America there's a huge fight whether to teach intelligent design or to this evolution. And the church is telling, if you are going to teach the evolutional theory, it is unfair because this has not been proved. So therefore you have to teach intelligent design also. And they run court cases, and some provinces have they disprove the intelligent design instead to teach the evolution. So if you wish to read it, you have to read the God Delusion by, I can't remember the author. Yes? Richard Dawkins. And of course he is biased, he is talking about this. He is talking about the evolution, but he indicates the human, that nothing proved. Intelligent design is it's a belief, and this is also, he says, the intelligent design people say this is also belief. It's also the link in between the human and the other animals is never found. Huge gap is there. So these things are, we call theories. So they are not proved yet. For both of the question, you have to say whether you are proving it or not. It is irrelevant to your self-understanding or understanding of the truth. Aganya, yeah. Aganya Sutta and the Satta Suryagamana Sutta. Aganya Sutta says how the evolving, rising earth. Satta Suryagamana Sutta says the dissolution. So that is the way the teaching you find in the Buddhism. Your English talks was brilliant. This helps everyone who does not understand Sinhala. Hope you will give more retreats in English. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. While I appreciate the power of solitude and living at the present, as lay people in our real life, we need a lot of planning for tomorrow, next month, next year, and so on. For us to plan for the future, we surely need to live in the future. Even a plan like this, Jhana Grove, would not have come to the existence without a future vision. Am I missing something here? So you are missing the present moment by writing papers. So my simple answer is mind your own business and be here. And now Jhana Grove has come, so we have to get the maximum use out of that. And all the future plannings is yes, but there's one article I read as a layperson, all planning and appointments are leading to disappointments. So therefore have an appointment with the disappointment, no problem. But for that you have to be very radical. These are quite rational. Of course you have to say when you are living in the rational world, you have to be. But the Buddha says, on and off you can test the radical thing, that is called impromptu or electric. That's the point where the history changes. This planning never change history. History changed by the impromptu thing, the electric things. So these are the things going to the history. So if you read it, you will see that almost all the great people, they are not good planners. They know how to make use of the opportunity. They go. So leave both open. Venerable Bhante, please excuse me for writing the below in Sinhala. You can answer in English. Swamin Wahanse Anantawaravala, what you see is what you are. Kiyana pada Allah dharma desana kalat. Bhayanaka sansara ගොඩනැගීමේ විපාක ගැන අනන්ත වාර ධර්ම දේශනා කළත් ඇතැම් පුද්ගලයෝ මෙතනදීම මේ විපාක දෙන සංස්කාර ඇති කර අහිංසක අනිත් පුද්ගලයන්ගේ හිත්වලට එම විස බීජ ඇතුල් කරන්නේ ඒ අයගේ සංතාර කර්ම දෝෂ නිසාද නැත්නම් මනෝ සංස්කාර අවස්ථා දේවා නවත්වාගත හැකි නේද කරුණාවෙන් පැහැදිලි කර දෙනු මැනවි සබ්බපාපසා කරන. So this is the question is good begets good and the bad begets bad. Being that is the universal law, why some people are making a conscious crime? How that happens? So very difficult whenever you are talking about other psychology. That is beyond our capacity. It is just the imagination. If that particular person is here, we can ask him. If the particular person is not there, that judgment is always biased. So therefore, again, mind your own business. And if you concern about your mind, once it go to the very deep layers, you can tackle the problem through compassion. This is going to tackle with some other ideas, not through the compassion. So, just to compassion to manifest, you have to just, sympathize this kind of people. Because in our past, how many crimes we would have done? And now we are going to take everything as a Samaritan, we are better off and we never do crimes like. But if that particular person, the neighbor is going to ask from that particular person, they will let you know what is the kind of person. Not that particular person, only the neighbor can understand who you are. So therefore keep it open. We are not there. Whatever the Dhamma we are practicing, we are not such pure beings. We have verbal, physical and mental misdeeds still. We can't control it. So exactly the same thing, doing other people in the little, degree differences. So therefore we have no rights to measure others. We have no rights to deal with others' cases unless otherwise it is disturbing us. Specifically if it is disturbing our meditation, we must be little concerned. Otherwise, if you are going to be wider, the reverse flow is very slow. If we are concerned about here now I am, then you can get the kind of a momentum. Otherwise,
sometime back when I stayed at Bodhigana Monastery, I read a book. I can't remember the name of the author, but he said Buddha had said that there were 16 different types of human beings. Anything from the lowest up to a Buddha, he describes the mentality and the law. Is that correct?
No, when you come to the monastery, why you are reading books? Pardon me? Pardon me?
I was there for the 3 months retreat, rains retreat.
Whatever may be, when you go to the retreats, you must do away with readings. Because no, this is not an excuse. This is the way, the poisoning. We don't know, the books can come. But the thing is, do away with as much as possible. Be here and now. And these many things, as she mentioned, the Aganya Sutta and Sattva Sutta Gamana, there are some stock phrases. And later commentaries, they are going to give so much of details, you don't know whether it's a Buddha's words or a later commentary. So when you are going to measure it, ultimately we are with so much of hooked up with theory. I am not telling that they are to throw away or burn. Use it as far as it is solving problems. If it is creating problems, throw away. So this is when I am asking this question from the Abhidhamma, because it is creating so much of problem for me. More and more reading, more and more complication. So I went to Venerable Jnanarama and told that I have a scientific education. This is creating problem for me. I hate this kind of lists and charts and graphs and all the kind of... Then he says, as far as it is helpful, read it, otherwise you do away with that. Without that you can go. So therefore any theory, any tool, any friend, use it for the benefit. Use it for the resolving the problem. Otherwise, consider this a friction. And leave it aside. One day, by naturally, you will come to know. Or otherwise, you will find these are trivial things. Not too much worry about that. Because the books are that even within the Theravada tradition, the later commentarial books are creating problem, they are solving the problem. But when you are reading the Tripitaka, it has its own course, its own message, and what is the consequences. So therefore, you have to, what the Upanishad Sayadaw says is, you must listen to the criticisms, but only if it is a productive, creative criticism. If it is destructive, throw away. Because we have very limited time. You said Nama is composed of the 52 mental factors, consciousness or mind. This body is then made up of the Rupa with its atoms and molecules and the 4 elements. Then 52 mental factors consciousness and the 52 mental factors. Is this correct? Can you explain this further? This is also, the 52 mental factors are commentarial. The Dhammajiva Sutta and others, the Venerable Sariputta says, as far as the matter is concerned, Patavi Apo Tejo Vayu. And the name is concerned, Sanya Vedana Chanya, Chetana, Sanya, Chetana, Manasikara, and these things. Contextually, he has given what is the most immediate and invariable parts. So, but later when you are looking at the whole Tripitaka and kind of thing, they are compiled, Namarupa, in this way. The atoms, molecules are, this is the scientific part. This is not relevant to the Tripitaka, but later in the, what you call, Tarka Vidya or the logics, they have tried to differentiate it like that. But the most important thing is what you can feel. That is, come face to face it. When this is going on, the filling of the gap will happen basically through the theoretical understanding or sometimes in the deductive knowledges. As far as the breathing is, Anapanasati is concerned, the going up and down air, it is called Vayo Pottabha Dhatu, is the matter. The feeling, this is in-breath, this is out-breath, this is sound, like discrimination happen through the Nama, the immaterial part, the mind or noting mind. So noted object is the matter, noting mind is the Nama. That is the way it is being presented in a simple way. Even this explanation is commentarial. Dear Venerable Bhante, thank you so much for your tireless effort to help us and for sharing so generously and practically the understanding and experience you have gained through the teaching of the Lord Buddha. So glad to see that your Dhamma teaching and the instructions from which we have gained strength for our practice are now available to the wider community as presented beautifully via the English sermons in this retreat. With great respect and the deep sense of gratitude, may I transfer the merits generated through this meditation practice to you, wishing you have a good health and strength to continue the invaluable series that you are providing to the Sasana. May I also transfer the merits to all those who have worked hard to facilitate this valuable Kalyanamita association for the benefit of many via organization of retreats and various centers. A special merit transfer to the Ramani and Bimal for organizing this retreat, enabling us to use the time very efficiently for the practice of meditation. Merit transfer to all those who provided transport and nutritious meal supporting our practice, and also the Achan Brahm, I would say Achan, and BSWA for they are generous for allowing us to use this beautiful Jhana Grove Meditation Center. May by the power of the Triple Gem we all find the strength to continue our practice, enabling us to reach the maximum potential of this human existence. A yogi from Melbourne. It's just a comment, not this thing. And there are two questions I postponed last time. And one thing is presenting the diagrammatical way, how the past and the future miss the point, the midpoint, and try to explain in terms of feelings, perception, intention, consciousness, and then relinquishing of all assets at midpoint. All sankharas are still no pain, no pleasure. That is explained in the middle. They all meet at one point. At that point, even the present moment cannot be seen, as it is constant flux from the past to the future. So at this end, everything fades away, and what is seen is the change from past to the future. It is so very minute that there is nothing, simply energy, no I, no mind, no self, gone, faded away. Seeing that was so beautiful that I quickly noted it before it faded away from any memory. I hope you can understand my rough sketch. Can you please elaborate on this? So whatever may be, this the black spot or the black hole can be explained to the materiality, feeling, perception, intention, and the consciousness. Accordingly, some personality traits also can be understood. So therefore, even though it is, even though the Buddha out of compassion going to give the 5 ways to understand it, each and everyone has not necessary to understand all. Whatever may be applying, whatever may be relevant is the path. Whatever may be, whenever someone goes, when they come to the middle point, everything will be served and understanding happen. So don't worry about what is not clear. Whatever may be the clear, namely through the materiality, feeling, perception, intention and consciousness, you have to drive. When you go there, all things converge into the same. The other one is Venerable Bhante in Malunkyaputta Sutta. The Lord Buddha explained to Bahya that simply stop at each sense. In simile, where he mentioned about all the other senses. Then on another occasion he explained that when the eye sees a beautiful flower, it needs to be contemplated in terms of qualification. Now this problem came earlier, we tackled, maybe again same thing. How do we contemplate this like this in our day-to-day activity? If you are smart enough, if you are sharp enough, if you are mindful enough, if you are diligent enough, you can stop at that level. That is the best. In a case you can't stop and still go there and developing either likings or disliking, then you have to use this aswadadina Nissarana method. So these are two tactics. If you can nip it at the bud level, early part, jittamatang. But if it is lose the grip and if it is going to develop kind of likings and disliking, under such circumstances, measure the advantages and disadvantages and renunciation. So it is the same thing, 2 instructions for 2 different occasions. There's no confusion there. That's all as far as written questions are concerned. It's really good, there are no much of questions. And to make tomorrow morning meeting short, if anyone wish to say the Dhammajiva is good and now is a good time. But you have to put a nickname. So that is the way that we can save time. Otherwise, that tomorrow 9:30. So we can.
When you spoke about deathless, the thought came to me, like Shakespeare, he wrote a play, Hamlet, in that he says, we are but actors on a stage. And I was just thinking, I wear so many different hats. Who am I? And I just thought, wouldn't it be lovely if all these actors are removed and it's an empty stage? That would be like deathless, no I to die. It just came to me like that.
That is the way different people, whenever you go to that state, you feel like communicating with others, coming with different epithets and the examples and kind of thing. But whatever may be the essence cannot be explained. So therefore in Taoism it says, whichever may be expressible is never the eternal Tao. It is beyond the words. It is ineffable. But we feel, the Buddha says, there are two things difficult to prevent. One thing is, if you have an idea to go somewhere, gamika chitta, whatever the thing you are going to stop it, one day it will happen. The second thing is, whatever you understood, even if it is so profound, you feel like sharing with others, that is also, you can't stop it. So it is a kind of a the smell coming out of this situation. That is how this old teaching of the Buddha came, and the commentarial and other kind of things. So what we do is we try use our colloquial language, the local language, and share with as much as possible. But on principles you have to understand the essence we can't communicate. That is ineffable. But we can come close as much as possible with the help of the language. බඩු දානද පොළට කොච්චර තියෙනද ඔක්කොම මේ ගිය පාර මේ රේවක ගිය වෙලාවේදී when he visited Nissarana, I asked him to bring books. So he is now presenting it to the, how do you call it, car boot fair. So people come and buy. And there's a very limited amount. So therefore, I don't know how to share in the equal way. But these are very difficult. Specifically, this one is Mahasi book. There are 4 books. Early 2 parts are specifically on the Vinaya, specifically divided into the lay and ordained. All the books are in Sinhala. So, the Mahasi, the first volume, and the Sattva Visuddhya Vidassana Jnana Venerable Jnanaramas, and Anapanasati, first and the second part, still Venerable Jnanaramas. So he wished to express. I thought that... on behalf of the thing, I would like to Venerable Bhaddekaratta to express little his ideas. Last time also, you were so generous to share with ourselves.
It's a beautiful retreat. I must say I always enjoy this retreat very much. It's quite different in feeling to the other retreats that we hold here. There's a sort of a family feeling, and somebody was telling me, I don't know if she's here, she was planning a holiday to Sri Lanka. She was going with somebody, and I thought, well, they should have come here, Saved a lot of time and effort and money, because we've had a beautiful, just the hospitality in the heart. If you go to Sri Lanka, you wouldn't even find it so easily. And so I think it's a treasure for non-Sri Lankans to participate and share with Sri Lankans in, I think, the heart of Sri Lankan culture, which is, generosity, the kindness, the, real sharing of the Dhamma, the joy in the Dhamma, in the practice of dana, of sila, of bhavana. And, when I'm at other retreats, I don't have that feeling at times. Westerners are so keen to meditate that they forget about dana and sila, that it gives a lot of heart. And I really think that a lot of you do these things. So it's time for you to leverage all the good work that you do. You have this generosity and kindness as a kind of a training from childhood. So it's really, I think you can make a lot of progress on the cushion and be, real ambassadors of the Dhamma when you go home. You've heard the Dhamma in Sinhalese, and you've heard it in English. And I mean, it's been a very interesting experience for me. On the other hand, is something that the rest of you don't see very much, is the Anumodana every day after lunch. And it's like a conveyor belt every day of the donors who come in and they bring in their children. And what's very obvious to me is the children are kind of cultured in a certain way, they're taught in a certain way, and they get to about 17 and 18 years of age, and then you see a big problem. And that problem isn't because they're 17 or 18, it's how they're being seasoned as they grow in life. And I think there's a lot of an opportunity for you to share with your children. And I'm sort of learning myself what's going on. I don't have any real clear ideas about what's happening. But I do feel that my initial observations, and I've been trying to confirm them as I talk with the children, and I find that they're very nice kids. And it's a lot of it, I think, is some sort of an expectation that's arising from parents. And it's very interesting if you watch and learn to watch your expectations, what expectations you have of your children and of your society. We are living here in Australia, and the Dhamma here is something, it's a little bit different. It doesn't necessarily have all the cultural tones to it that you might be used to in Sri Lanka. But on the other hand, it has a lot of the cut and thrust of the Dhamma, where people take these teachings and they use them to change their mind, change their heart, and become really beautiful people. It's very inspiring for me to work with the Kalyana Mitta group in Nullamara. I also work with a lot of young Sri Lankans in that group, and seeing the benefits that the Dhamma is bringing to them is very inspiring. So this retreat is a whole cross-section of Sri Lankan life here in Perth and in Australia in general. And it doesn't, the teachings are not a holiday, it's a part of life. And if you can bring these teachings back into your home life, I think you can have wonderful relations with your children or your grandchildren or your nieces and nephews. And you can understand the kind of issues that they're facing as they grow up here in Australia a lot better. And I really think that it's your job to be exemplars of the practice of the Dhamma. If you wish your children to adopt these practices, they'll only do it if they see that you're getting a benefit. So if you can practice these things at home, in your daily life, and then that's how you will get others to draw into these practices. Doing one thing and saying one thing and doing another is not a way to get people to adopt these teachings. As Dhammajiva Handra was saying, things are in utility. I remember being questioned earlier on in this retreat about why we should have a $6 million complex. And I also said the same, that it was utility. It was utility. This place is being highly utilized. And I see a lot of benefit coming to, young Westerners who come here. And these teachings are very useful. So sometimes we say that the Westerners are only picking up on bhavana, on meditation. But, I think Ajahn Chah said something really useful about that. He said that, whatever end of the stick you pick up, you automatically pick up the whole stick. So they start to pick up meditation, and then they realize that sila and dana are very useful and important. I think for the Western yogis who are attending this retreat, that message will certainly be going into their hearts. And, for you also to train your children with meditation, you've been teaching them meditation in the sense of attitude and the right thought, right responses to situations. But really changing your own behavior is where it's going to be the most productive. maybe this isn't exactly what Venerable Dhammajiva thought when he would pass the mic to me, but it's been certainly the thing that I've been coming away with every day, watching young children in their teens being dragged through the door, not enjoying the experience. And I really hope that you guys can turn it around, because you're out in the community with these children. As monks, we can do what we can do. We can try our best to understand their situation. But I have to say the children that I've spoken with and in general are just incredibly nice kids. When I compare them to ordinary Western Australians, I think they're nice too, but there's some really sweet children out there, and the Dhamma has to be presented to them with a lot of sensitivity. When it gets tied up as a kind of dictatorship, it's very unpleasant, and it won't yield any good results. It'll get a lot of resistance from them and backlash, and they're not interested in the Dhamma, which from my point of view is very sad. I've often said it's been like a spoon standing in the paripu, it doesn't have any taste. So it seems to me like a lot of effort is going into culturing and training the children, but somehow it's not sweet, So if you can reflect on the benefits you've gotten from this retreat, if you can reflect on the kind of opening the door of your heart that has happened, and give the kids a lot of credit. They're really nice, sweet kids, and they'll come along in their own time to the Dhamma. And the best advertisement you can have for the Dhamma is that you yourself are very grounded, you're very happy and content in your life, and that, I think, will sell well with the children. I think it is a responsibility of people who have come in touch with the Dhamma to find skillful means to share the Dhamma with others. And by doing so, they inculcate that teaching in their own heart. This is the main reason that I even bother opening my mouth about the Dhamma, is because I find that it really develops the Dhamma in my own heart, my own understanding. Trying to find ways to teach your own children how to practice the Dhamma is a very interesting kind of learning and lesson for me. Sometimes I have to review, how did I learn this aspect of the Dhamma? How did I, learn to be generous? How did I learn to appreciate morality? How did I learn to value this simple thing of being able to calm my mind down, still the breath, and be with myself, be with the body, be with the difficulties. What you've all been doing, 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, from 4 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night, is not easy. It's a big challenge. And that skill is a very useful skill for your children in their working careers, in their studies, and in the just normal difficulties of growing up in modern society. Modern society is against concentration. It's against calming of the mind. People's minds are very scattered. They have bombarded with media, with all kinds of stuff. So what you've learned here is very useful. But if you walk out the door and just drop the teachings and then turn around and say, oh, you should be practicing meditation, you should be Buddhists, you should have more respect for parents. Well, if you don't have that respect for the teachings that you've learned here in this last 2 weeks, well, what do you expect? So I think it's the best thing you can do is walk out the door and say, I'm going to mind my own business, and really inculcate and drive these teachings into your heart. And whether your kids are nice or not nice, or whether they're respectful or not respectful, that's not your business. It's their business. But by doing so, by looking after your own business, I'm really quite sure you'll have a lot of success in life, in your business, in your family life, and in your parenting. So, that's what I would really try to encourage you all to do.
That means Sinhala Nibbana and English Nibbana. That is the way you have to phrase it. Yeah, because that in Sri Lanka we have Sinhalese Buddhism. You know it? So we are very patriotic. Sinhalese Buddhism, and ultimately we don't know we are fundamentalist. So we have to be sharing with others. So I think the Perth group is quite multicultural and all the kind of things. So therefore it is a kind of a good cocktail party. It's a good fruit salad. So that's all. So we are going to wind up the today's work, and 9:30 is the time. So the books are there, so all are in Sinhala. So as you like, you may serve yourself. And as usual, in each and every day, we must be thankful to all the seen and unseen beings helped organize this retreat. Up to the last date, every day went very smoothly and successfully, thanks to all the organizers. And the other one is to share our merits with all the dear and near ones and the relatives, living and non-living. And last, to remind and straighten our objectives as far as the retreat is concerned, the ideal solitude and the freedom. May all our merits help us to clarify this point and straighten out this point. With that idea, we are going to recite the traditional stanzas to share merits with others. Ettavata cangammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cangammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cangammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu mang parang. Idang wo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu Idang wo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatiyo. Idang wo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatiyo. Imina punya kammene vami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammene vami bala samagamo satang Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.